Well, here we go then, Atlanta. We have our two teams who have made it through the bracket to our grand finals, and what a story it's been for both sides of this stage. And there's something almost interesting about this series, and it's the number two, right? The number two. Let kind of, give me a few seconds here to explain, right? Optic Gaming, second place, the second place curse. That's been their problem. That's where they haven't just been able to get over that line, and there's a long road ahead of them until they can put that right. On the other side of the stage, you're looking at Spacestation Gaming, and the reason I talk about number two, it's their chance to pick up their second championship of this season.
That's right, it's a rematch of your Arlington Grand Finals, and it feels like these two teams such a core of our Big Four, and it's unsurprising that these are the last two who have fought through the bracket, of course, on very different sides and very different paths to this Grand Final, but here we are, your best of seven is right in front of you.
Incredible to see Spacestation rebounding in the way that they have from London. Huge amount of questions being thrown at this roster. Was it an off event? Was it a little bit of a worry? Maybe they weren't going to be the Spacestation that we saw in Arlington. Was Arlington a fluke? Well, all of a sudden now we have the answer to that. They have marched through the winner side of this bracket to book their spot in this grand final. And amongst all of the upsets in that elimination bracket, one team stood tallest. Optic Gaming had to fight tooth and nail just to get into this grand final to have the opportunity to take on Spacestation.
Got some SSG fans in the building right next to some Optic fans. You just saw some thumbs down next to those banners. Gonna have to make sure everyone behaves themselves down there, but it's been an amazing crowd here in Atlanta, been an amazing event here in Atlanta at the FaZe Major. FaZe, though, exiting early and now leaving the way, paving the way for these two teams to now find themselves in the grand final. As you said, for Optic, it's really them looking to return to form, to get back on top. For Spacestation, it's a bounce back tournament for them, of course, placing outside of the top three for the first time in quite some time in London, and now they have found themselves guaranteed top two, but they want to secure their second win of the season on the board and continue Optic's unlucky second place streak here in Atlanta.
It's interesting, isn't it? We always have these stories coming into an event that we talk about on day one, and we wait until these moments in front of us to resolve what those stories are going to be. Is it going to be the bounce back of all bounce backs on the side of Spacestation? Is it going to be the curse broken for Optic Gaming, and will they get their first championship of this season? Well, it's a Sunday evening here in Atlanta, and you know what that means. It's time for our grand finals.
Optic Gaming, so much to prove here. And most interestingly, both of these teams, right, made one specific team change each to make sure that they would become the world champions this season. Spacestation has already shown that it's paid off, but they fell flat in London. Optic Gaming still looking for their first win of the season. We are underway. Optic Gaming versus Spacestation here, your grand finals at the HCS Atlanta Major.
Optic Gaming coming off the back of a hot win as well, with some of the flashiest plays that we've seen so far in this tournament. Spacestation had to bide their time a little bit. Maybe it's going to take them a few moments to get that rhythm together, but off the break here, it's going to be Optic Gaming who have their rhythm broken. 3 dead off the rip, and Eco already getting that ball back to blue.
Man, what a pleasure to watch these two teams. Always a battle, and especially in a grand final with so much on the line, not just the cash prize, but also, of course, the bragging rights and the momentum for the rest of the season. Everything to play for here with these two teams.
Bound trying to escape. With this shock rifle in his hands, he is last alive here for SSG, so a really good break actually coming in from Optic Gaming to make sure that that oddball wasn't taken back to blue and significant time wasn't put up by SSG. Lucid, he's got his ankle protectors and his shin pads on, manages to stay alive through those shots coming in. Lqgend gets a pick. And that's going to put Optic on the back foot for just a few seconds. Deadzone also going to fall, and maybe Lucid, who pokes back out, isn't going to be so lucky to get away with his life this time.
3 dead again. TriPPPeY was your last player alive, and one thing that immediately stands out when you're watching this match is these two teams have earned their spot here. Sometimes when you get to a grand final, some teams have had an easier bracket. Maybe they haven't had to work their way as hard as their opponents. However, with these 8 players on your screen, you look at these names and you think, my God, they have had unbelievable tournaments, pop-off moments, incredible teamwork, and it's going to be a bloodbath. And you can tell that already because it's so low scoring early on. Only 13 points on the board so far in game number 1.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about low scoring. I think it's a combination of how good people are playing, but also just the respect, right? People realize they can't get that odd ball away without guaranteeing kills before they start to move that ball. Holding that ball is exactly what SSG are going to do right now. It's 4 dead for Optic. SSG with full control of this map.
They'll go into the lead as well. And like you said, slow and steady wins the race for SSG. They're now outslaying 16-8.
Looks like the A-spawns came in there for Optic Gaming. Maybe Lqgend just pushed up a little bit too far on Turbine. Maybe they were trying to force it, just didn't make the play off the back of it. It's going to be 2 dead thanks to the bullets coming in from the Bandit of Bound, as Optic did get those first picks, but weren't able to make too much of it. Bound trying to escape with the camo. It's going to be down in the pit. Deadzone with a double kill, and that man has played some Halo today.
That's a big play there. They were just being outslayed 19-10, but that slowly inches things back in their favor, and it also, because of that double, leads to a camo grab here for Lucid.
StelluR has that oddball in his hand, though, and he's rotating it away from the Optic Gaming members that he's aware of. However, here's the camo.
Wow.
There's Lucid with some great shots onto StelluR. Oddball is still down, and there's going to be a trade up on the glass, which means the Oddball is going to be in a neutral position for now. Optic will scoop it up, as they do have a little bit of support. And now you have the shot in the hands of Lucid. And he can do anything, like we saw a little bit earlier with that sniper rifle. Well, this is going to be a good few moments for Optic.
I love that from Lucid. Look at the way he's moving around this map. There's so much to talk about there. Unbelievable with camo. Just jumps up to glass. There's 3 players there, and he just isolates the target so perfectly to make sure they get control. Now still with shock in hand.
Lqgend just gets fizzled a little bit there, but certainly not fried. Keeps his life for a few more moments. Just 1 point between these two teams at the moment. That ball is in a precarious position, as is Lucid. But Lucid just staying alive is taking the attention away from SSG. And Optic members elsewhere managed to pick up just a couple of kills. Bound now, he's on the flank. He's trying to force his way through Turbine. Eco's going to be pinching onto Deadzone, who plays that ball back to batteries. And it looks like a reset on the map here for both teams.
Really nice from Deadzone. Look, Deadzone stayed alive the whole time as well. He played the ball and stayed alive to wait for teammates. That's a nice amount of time on the board, especially when Optic's getting outslayed by 8, yet they still lead. So far, it's been Optic who's been a little bit more efficient with the ball work.
2 dead on the side of SSG. Bound now going to find himself in a position where his teammates are down. And he's going to be joining them as well. 3 in a bed for SSG for now. Optic with a chance to maybe look for a 4 dead. And Deadzone's going to fly. He gets the beat down. No trade on the side of Eco. And you would imagine with the ball being reset, there should be an opportunity to grab this, maybe with that grapple he's got in his hand.
You expect it to be. Bound, by the way, on your screen. He's 12-5. And he's got a camo. Ooh, my. TriPPPeY makes sure to neutralize that. That's a big, big finish. TriPPPeY gets 2 as well, which could extend the Optic lead if they can get this ball off the stand.
StelluR now, last alive. Optic with another opportunity to get that ball back into pipes, and that's exactly what they are going to do. TriPPPeY trying to force the pace. TriPPPeY going to take the 1v1, but StelluR wins that 1v1, falling from the skies. He's the one who connects with that headshot first.
I mean, the confidence there from StelluR. Anyone who's played enough Halo Infinite knows that when you're dropping down from a catwalk there, that's not easy to refocus. Instead, he just drops back down with complete confidence in that TriPPPeY 1v1 from a disadvantageous angle. And in the end, cleans that kill up. But still, like we said, 3 dead for the moment. It was essentially a 2v1 for just a brief second. Still 40-29 in favor of Optic Gaming. Game clock is what we're going to start to focus on here, Mark. Only 125 left.
Certainly are. Time to starting to slip away a little bit here. SSG will be more aware of that. But they're the team who have to make the moves. Bound to be taken down. Great shots coming in from Formal once more, but it is going to be StelluR who gets that ball in his hands for just a few moments. But he's going to have to rotate away. I mean, we have the luck to have the outlines of where the players are going to be, and StelluR does get chased down. So now Eco, even though he's trying to put pressure, he knows he has to try and pressurize this off ball, because otherwise the lead's going to get out of hand. Deadzone in front of him. Deadzone still in front of him. Deadzone still in front of him and standing over his dead body.
The crowd likes what they see as well. Anytime you got to drop that ball first and still win a 1v1, it's a big deal. StelluR is your last player alive. As you can see, he's going to have spawners on long haul. This is going to be continued time for Optic Gaming, and now about a 30-point lead about to take place.
Cushion is starting to build here for Optic Gaming. It's been good control for them. Love the way that they haven't at any point tried to get scrappy with it. It's always been about control. If you're not sure, don't worry about that oddball. We have the lead in our hands. 4 dead for SSG, and now it is comfortable. And this is going to be at least 10, 15 points more being added to the total of Optic.
This is big. They're going to be ready for these spawns as well. If they get the first pick here yet again, this might actually be the round here.
Formal jiggle peeking with Bound. Bound's going to have to back down. The shield advantage is certainly in the hands of the man on your screen right now. Formal turns around to finish off Lqgend bottom middle, and Deadzone all the while is just holding that ball in his hands. Bound is stuck in the tower. There might be time for one more push from SSG, but if not, this is going to be the first round going to Optic.
Wow, unbelievable. 90 points on the board. Optic was trailing, as we said, by 9-kill deficit. 2 dead again. Unbelievable. Optic Gaming goes into the slaying lead for the first time at the 94-point mark.
StelluR with a desperation play, top goal, not going to be able to get anywhere near that oddball. And Deadzone, who's had the easiest job in the world for the last 30 seconds or so, gets the first round on the board for Optic.
Unbelievable there. In the end, it's a huge, huge point margin difference in that first round, despite it being, once again, as we said, a big close game in terms of kills. In the end, Optic outslays 48-44 after once again it being 29-20. Spacestation lets that game slip away from them.
And another great round from Deadzone, right? 73 points on the board. He had the most objective time by far in the lobby. Also had the most kills on Optic Gaming and the least deaths. That's how well he played that round. Deadzone, he's been outstanding so far today.
He really has. Now, the opening, Spacestation knows they need to bounce back in a very big way here. Formal gonna win that battle bottom middle. Now try to get his way back to elevator as well.
I think the concern for SSG from that first round was how they it felt like they were unable to really consistently break the setup that Optic Gaming had when they had that 4 dead situation. When Optic could take map control, SSG was struggling to even get the first pick in the situation to slow down the scoring. So SSG have got a lot to work on here. This time, they're not going to have to worry about the pipe setup for now. They're going to have to worry about the elevator setup, but they're also going to have to worry about Lucid, which they do so. Take the shock rifle out of his hands, and maybe that's the break they needed. 2 dead for Optic.
StelluR barely gets away, connects as well, and you never want to have this guy with the shock in hand if you're on the side of Optic Gaming. 4 dead for Optic Gaming, and as soon as StelluR gets the shock on height, look what he can do with it now. It will be Spacestation off to another early lead, but they know that they need to play the entire round this time as they let that first one really slip out of their hands.
Bound did a good job as well, just making sure he collected that ball very, very quickly as well to get it back in towards the elevator for that setup. A little body shot from Deadzone, onto Deadzone, excuse me, from StelluR isn't going to be enough to take him down, and now all of a sudden you're seeing he gets scrappy. Optic have managed to really not let Spacestation get a considerable chunk of time here. It's a very similar start to what we saw in round 1. Nobody wanted to overcommit for that oddball until the kills come their way. Optic find themselves with 2 dead, and there's 2 fresh spawners as well.
One thing I also got to point out is Bound stats. He's 18-13 now. A while ago, he was about 13-4 or so. 3 dead for Optic Gaming, by the way. So you can just tell that he's really putting pedal to the metal there in the end. His deaths have really crept up relative to his kills. Did everything he could at the end of that round to keep things close, but in the end, it was a dominant round win. However, Spacestation now with a narrow lead in this second round. 3 dead. StelluR's last player alive on stacks with the C spawners.
Yeah, this is really, really impressive stuff. I mean, Formal goes for that oddball, but his job there was to help Deadzone get the camouflage. He did exactly that, and now Lqgend, having got his first pick, has no idea where Deadzone has relocated. It's going to be 1 kill at least, maybe even 2. StelluR's trying to give him the wiggles. That's a big kill going in the favor of SSG. StelluR not willing to trade, only willing to go 1-0 in that fight.
The 2 teams, by the way, tied once again at the 64 kill mark. Interestingly, StelluR is leading the game with 21-15. However, once again, it has not translated to objective efficiency just yet. Deadzone is the last player alive for Optic Gaming. This should be time for Spacestation.
I mean, this was all StelluR, this run that we're seeing now, because he got that kill onto the camo player, had no right to do that, didn't trade the situation, flies back out, gets that first kill, then immediately recognizes next thing to do, get some more points on the board, and that's exactly what he does. Rotates it towards those teammates off spawn, picks up another kill. StelluR's doing it all at the moment.
Really doing everything he can there, tries to rotate the ball all the way to C. In the end, it does get cut off. You have to wonder if it was a bit of an over-rotate potentially. In the end, it was going to be Optic Gaming grabbing time and about to tie up the round.
Looks like Lucid knows of Eco's position there down on the yellow door, needs it out, forces him back. And for all the good work we just saw from Spacestation Gaming, now we are seeing the lead change. Optic back into the lead now, 33 points and rising. SSG get a couple of kills though. Lucid might get one here, but it's going to be a trade somehow from StelluR, once again showing that it's not an easy kill when you're going up against the man whose name is StelluR.
Shake of the head there from Lucid. There, it looked like a little bit of a confusing battle at the end of the sneaky there. The pre-nades looked good from our side. 2 dead for Spacestation Gaming, and Eco's going to have to retreat just a bit as there's good pre-nades coming in from Control as well. Still a relatively low-scoring game. It's Optic up by about 10 here.
Camouflage is the focus for both teams at the moment. Lucid going to get a pick. Lucid going to survive for just long enough, but Eco again with the right elbow to secure himself a kill. Formal now trying to get an angle on that camo. 2 dead for Optic, 1 dead on the side of SSG. It's going to be 3 dead now for Optic. This should be a camo pickup for SSG.
StelluR now with another camo and an opportunity to get back in this. Still, by the way, leads the game in kills. Bound only behind him. Spacestation narrowly leading in the kills category, but once again, not able to translate into points on the board just yet.
Yeah, really interesting. Actually, that kind of worked out for Optic Gaming there. Constantly being able to challenge bottom middle means that SSG were never getting oddball time. The camo popping up at the time that they won that initial battle has allowed them to kind of keep it scrappy, keep it messy, and not let them get set up on the map. A 2v2 on the map turns into a 1 versus 2 in the favor of Spacestation Gaming. TriPPPeY is trying to survive, but this shock rifle takes a huge amount of damage, but not enough to take him down.
Finally, I mean, shields have been flashing for what felt like 12 seconds. Finally gets his shields back and avoids the next grenade that might have been coming in. And God, you really cannot ask for a better matchup, right? As we talked about, these teams, by the way, still within 1 kill of each other in total slays. It's amazing to watch just absolute, as you say, strategic. My God, by the way, shots from Lucid there from the bat ledge, absolutely beautiful. Just really just strategic mastery from both teams, just trying to get the hold that they can. Optic Gaming still narrowly leading in round 2, 39-30. We'll see if they can continue it with a listening.
They're pushing tower.
Yeah, weak, finger pit, and one bottom tower. One shot bottom mid, one shot bottom mid. I'm gonna go gold, man, go gold.
Yeah, already gold, they're already gold. There's 2 guys tower, and there's 1 guy gold.
Gold here, yep.
Good plays there.
You buy now, StelluR. 3 ties though, 3 guys. Only 1 guy gold, only 1 guy gold. Only 1 guy gold, get the gold.
Yep,
1v1 this kid, 1v1 this kid, go.
Yeah.
1v1 this kid, show him.
Go, he's on ball.
One shot, gold door, one shot ballage.
Neither to third round.
One shot ballage now, which is a sitting ballage. Do there.
Yeah.
Play for
No,
one.
we don't really need to play in the goal. We should play for camo, honestly.
10 seconds.
I need to break out tower. Hold those. We're gonna go. I'm gonna go door. I'm gonna go tower, guys. We're going
On
tower.
tower.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow you up. C plat weak.
I'm looking C plat.
Might be erratic here.
Yeah, these guys are ratting.
Yeah, back salad.
One guy C plat. One guy
Back salad, C plat.
Go door, one guy. C plat.
Back salad lit. Tom.
C plat 2 shot. I got bottom
Yeah,
camo.
long back silo.
You missed it. Back to camo now.
Back to camo. C plat on you, Tommy. Yep.
C plat still, and not single stack. Yeah, ball's rotating. You guys double.
Don't try, don't try.
Watch your glass.
Am I gonna get out with camo?
C plat. One shot. Glass on me. Looking glass. Looking at you.
Weird nade. I think weird nade.
Walking. Going blue pipes. Up tower, weak, bottom tower. One shot, top tower. One shot, one guy. Just hit C plat here. We should try to hit C plat.
Yeah, or one shot. Yo, silo.
Camo's here. Bottom middle. C box is one shot. C box is one shot. And blue tunnel. Live. Run up. Play the ball. Tower. Just toss it.
Alva comes back into the game. You're going to see the ball be played here, but while the listening was going on, SSG were busy picking up ball time. They now have their biggest lead we've seen so far in this game.
Absolutely, 3 dead though. See if Bound can do anything in the pipes. He gets taken down to 4 dead. Eco is your first spawner, and an opportunity for Optic to get right back in this game. They trail by 20.
Pipe setup again is what they are looking for. StelluR's the closest player forward, but there's 2 to try and deal with him, and TriPPPeY's just going to stick him. And that's going to be good enough. And now a second kill will be picked up as well. It's a solid push coming in, but it's a bit of a flood. It's straight into those grenades from SSG and made those kills maybe a little bit simpler for Optic than they would have wanted. Deadzone now leaves that ball behind. It's going to be picked up by a teammate. He's going to finish off the kill onto Eco, you would imagine. Ex-teammates going up against each other, and it's Deadzone who wins yet another battle, which should create some space for his team.
Lead change here. Optic Gaming does go into the lead here with 30 seconds left on the clock now as they cross the 80-point mark. Not much left here.
See, the Shroud went down there on the camo jump as well. Maybe SSG trying to sneak forward, trying to coordinate a push here to try and break. No connection with the shock rifle, just a melee. And now you're seeing the rotate from TriPPPeY, but there's a shock rifle at his back. He's trying to throw it out into a position where SSG aren't going to be able to do too much with it, but Eco is waiting. Eco is grabbing, and with just 8 points needed, Optic Gaming went 4 dead. And this is SSG's chance to turn this game around. One more push coming in. Formal going to be the first forward.
Here comes a push. Formal might win this 1v1 in the back. Single-handedly, 4 dead. What a push from Optic Gaming to close the round. They needed it. It had to be perfect, and they do it.
Optic Gaming will go up 1-0. What a push that was. No one fell. Everybody lived. And you've got to go back and watch that from the SSG point of view, because surely something's gone wrong there.
Unreal. Eco has the ball at back Hydro, thinking, okay, we've got a second. We're going to put some shots down. Formal says not so fast. By the way, Formal had damage on him when he flew into Hydro.
I was going to say, not enough though. Not enough damage. He's half shields, and the player behind him is full shields. Like, people can't get that quickly to an oddball carrier after a 4 dead without taking damage. Optic send it. Optic win it.
Wow.
And Optic Gaming will find themselves 1 up. And the first brick in a very long road is going to be laid.
Laid down indeed. By the way, Spacestation outslays in the game. 103-100 in an oddball that they lose 2-0. Optic Gaming, not only objective efficient, but strategically efficient that entire game. And even though Spacestation doing everything they can to largely control the map and the kills, was not enough. Very impressive what we saw in both rounds from Optic Gaming, and also even had to string together another comeback there after being down by over 20.
And once again, you can see in the player cam there, you know, Formal wins that fight, and you can, if you're a lip reader, you'll know exactly what he said in that situation. StelluR had some really, kind of, I would say, flashes of brilliance in that game. But you kind of take it back to that last moment of the round, right? I need to see what happened, because It was very un-SSG-like to not have some sort of coverage to make that push more difficult.
And also very, I think, a kind of new era Optic-esque of the fact that they have not, historically, they are not a team that always flies in and does this, but they flew right in immediately. They didn't waste any time, and they're playing faster than you might say they ever have, and certainly looking very good in that game number 1.
I mean, this is the moment, right? I mean, 4 dead. You can see StelluR gets taken down first. Deadzone picks up a kill, formal TriPPPeY. I mean, it's difficult to watch from the point of view of Eco, because Eco's done nothing wrong in that situation. He's grabbed the ball, he's rotated to blue, but before he knows it, he's got people flying at him, and he can't even get the play ball.
Also, you might have seen in the player cam, Formal actually exchanging some choice words down the line on the push alone. StelluR throws the head back and can't believe it. But man, Formal continues to be hyped. It's a beautiful final push from Optic Gaming. By the way, as we see this game on the board now at 2-0, that extends Optic Gaming's oddball recharge record this year to 6-0.
Yeah, 6-0 is perfect. What else do you want me to say about it? No surprise to see them winning that game type. Now we, though, change our game type, change our focus just a little bit. And when you're looking at those Atlanta stats from this tournament, when we're looking at Slayers, this is where SSG have excelled.
They really have. SSG on this specific map as well is 3-1 on the season. Optic Gaming, by the way, 3-3. So clearly, the gaming record overall for this game type specifically goes to SSG. We'll see if they can tie up the series with a game win.
So advantage to Optic, 1-0 in the series. And like we mentioned, it's a long road to a championship for them, but that is the first step taken. Game number 2, though. This is one where SSG have excelled, and they will want to answer back.
They certainly will. And SSG knows they really can't start to let these series slip away. The last thing they want to do is have to play a second best of 7 against a red-hot Optic Gaming. Lucid with the first camo of the game.
So Lucid probably thinking, hey, where's that shock rifle? He pricks it off the pad. And now this is somewhat of a problem. How do SSG play this one? Do they slow it down to the point now where they're trying to buy time for that camo to elapse in front of them? Or are they going to just try and formulate and flood one area of the map? Eco, well, he's going to find out where Lucid's standing. It's right on top of that pillar, and he's going to take your eyeballs out.
Interesting there. I really would have thought they played it a little bit more tucked in, right? Turtled up, to not let a player like Lucid, who has camo shock, finally it dissipates, but to not let him even hit that first shot. In the end, though, they do keep things close. It's within 2.
Within 2, and even though he's not invisible anymore with that camo, Lucid still has that shock rifle, and he is dangerous enough with this weapon in his hands. Now you're seeing pressure starting to be applied by SSG. They want this trade. It's not going to come in, and somehow this player stays alive. Eco is going to get one, Bound is going to get one, and even though Lucid picked up 1 kill, he's trying to retreat and keep this weapon in his hands and in his team's hands. StelluR gets the final member that was in and around the loop, but it's going to mean we have a tied game. Lucid does escape, though.
Yeah, off of that tussle, it's essentially just SSG tying it in the end. It's a little bit awkward around loop as well as glass, the way the kills were exchanged, and it's actually going to be SSG going into a narrow lead here. Lucid keeping things close, though.
Eco's job in this game is to tell everybody where Lucid is standing with the shock rifle, because it's been twice now that he's peaked and been brained almost immediately. 10-10, we find ourselves. As Bound flies out, tries to get out and survive for a few more seconds. Lucid tries to do the same. StelluR's going to chase him down, and it's a big push coming through on the LR from SSG. Trades coming through, but they're favoring SSG by the looks of things here.
Yeah, scrappy, and it's messy. Kills being traded back and forth throughout the entirety of the game, and I think it comes back to what you said in game number 1, Mark, as well, about the respect that these two teams are showing each other, and knowing that if they make the wrong choice, if they overextend just a bit, the other team will run away, repulsed all the way up.
Oh my God, StelluR, that is absolutely ridiculous. Camo eliminated.
Unreal. Very rarely do you see a repulse of a camo player like that, but leave it to StelluR to invent some new tricks, and the bookless shots from him looked good as well. Finally, he's taken down, but not before SSG goes into a 5-kill lead.
Those kind of kills are just, they're almost worth double, right? Because it's not just the kill without getting traded. You take the camo player out of the game, and there was a lot of time left on that camo as well. They'd only just managed to pick it up, and we know what a role you can go on if you get that power up in your control. So a huge swing moment. It's not a multi-kill, but it almost feels like it in this game, as TriPPPeY will fall as well. SSG find themselves 3 dead for the first time in quite some time, and that gap is starting to close ever so slightly as Optic chase them down.
They're starting to close indeed. Eco makes sure that he's not taken down as the 4th kill. We'll see what they're going to be able to do as they start to push out of the yard. They're starting to formulate some kind of push, now only a 1-kill lead for the side of SSG.
Well, SSG do have that lead. The pressure is now coming in from Optic Gaming to try and collapse. You can see that they're all trapped at the moment. The Formal doesn't check his corners and he's going to be taken down by Bound. And with Lqgend on your screen right now, it's a perfect time to jump into the comms with SSG. Let's jump in to a listening.
Where are we spawning now? They're spawning blue, I think, guys. I'm going nest. They spawned in blue. I go LR tunnel, Lqgend. Going LR tunnel, Lqgend.
Two flowers, quick. Two flowers. Blue ramp. It's two flowers. Blue ramp, one shot. I'm going dead. Low blue, weak. These guys are weak. Push blue, I'm in.
They know we're pushing.
Three guys in yard. One blue. Flower side bound.
One's driving to loop.
Go flowers down. Yeah, LR weak. One shot LR. Two guys one shot LR. One shot LR still. LR and blue flowers. One shot snipe stairs. Oh, no. Snipe stairs and soda, guys. Go for camo now. One shot on camo. Yeah.
Top mid, Brady.
One shot top mid. One shot U-turn.
You turn to get with camo, I think.
It could be.
Yes, one shot U-turn.
Nice.
I think there's. Do we get the blue guy?
You're in this corner. I'm in LR. One shot thrust. One shot flowers.
Nice. There, last guy.
You're spawn blue. One spawn blue, I think. See, no, two blue.
No. Brett, I'm looking over you.
Another one.
Hotel.
Coming down.
Hotel weak.
Two shots.
Market.
Still hotel, right? Hotel weak. One shot hotel.
Bottom mid. One shot bottom mid on me. Going dip. Dip to Ziki. Ziki jumping up Brady.
Two shots.
They're both They're gonna be behind you guys.
Another one hotel.
Top snipe one shot. And dip. You guys. Dip you guys.
Blue ramp.
Yeah, one shot blue ramp.
Another one blue. Back blue weak down. On the pole. On my flowers.
You get back to Birdie.
S4
Yeah, you're trying to come here. I'm gonna
Nest.
One shot. I'm trying to
Benches.
I can look benches.
Go on top side.
Step in, weak tap. One shot tap in.
One shot top mid.
What a run this has been from Bound, by the way. What a game this has been from Bound. He is slipping, he is sliding, he is challenging, he is outputting damage and cleaning up kills. 15 and 7. Bound finds himself as SSG now move within 9 kills of tying up this series.
I mean, unreal. During that listen, you and I were looking at each other and shaking our head, and we were thinking the same thing. The amount of damage coming out of this guy is absolutely unreal to now be double positive here in a Game 2 slay in our grand final. Unbelievable. StelluR also grabs the camo. 5 kills to go for SSG.
StelluR gets the kill as well, and they are getting cycled here, Optic Gaming. I think they know that maybe the writing is on the wall in this particular game type. Deadzone, he'll fall to StelluR. Camo still in his hands, just 2 to go as Lqgend adds another to the tally. He'll get 2. StelluR just looking for bodies, looking for the one to call the 50th. It's going to be Eco who secures it, and we are all tied up.
50-33 in a Game 2 grand final against Optic Gaming is a statement. We saw earlier on that they certainly had the statistical advantage in Slayers, but man, as we say, it can always be something different on Championship Sunday. This time it's Spacestation absolutely dominating and shutting down Optic Gaming. They answer back in a huge way.
Yeah, very, very impressive gameplay from SSG, and it came off the back of essentially a 3 or 4 dead situation. They were able to hit spawns, keep cycling the split spawns, and it was so difficult for Optic to get any presence on the map, and I love the aggression that we saw from Bound as well. Just spotted out that moment where he had the disruptor, he had a nade, spots out TriPPPeY, just the end of the gun, might be a toenail, whatever it was. I think not only can I get in a position here to get this kill, because I've got the thrust, I can get out as well, and then everyone's attention is on me. The rest of SSG flood off the back of it. Bound turns his attention to new sets of spawners, while the rest of his teammates are still cleaning up the damage. Perfect gameplay coming in from SSG, and when you're watching Bound gameplay that looks like that, where he's in one fight, out into another, cleaning up this, cleaning up that, that's when SSG machine is rolling and it is looking like everybody is taking their responsibilities.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, how many times during that sequence and during that listening did we see Bound dealing damage to 3 separate players before disengaging, right? I mean, unbelievable. He was getting either 1 or 2 of the kills, making sure he was also dealing damage in 1 or 2 other places, and then staying alive, and that is so hard to play against when you're on the side of Optic Gaming.
A few of these clips at the start will be from the point of view of Lucid. This play, though, this play is kind of what felt like triggered the run that SSG went on, and you can see that even though the lead is ever so slight here, this is a situation where Optic find themselves 4 dead. And from here, they just got cycled, it felt, for about 3 or 4 sets of kills. Then you're seeing a 5-kill advantage from here. This is the kill we were talking about with that disruptor. Bound gets out with a double kill, in and out of all of these fights. And Optic haven't moved off 25. And look at the score at the bottom now. It was around 28 to almost 30.
This was the end of that as well. We were staying with Bound that entire time as he hit the 15-7 mark. I mean, as you said, just really, really great control, and it leads to, when you have Bound doing things like that, it's easy for StelluR to grab the kill. By the way, Eco just finishes this one before StelluR even can, with really a deafening shock shot to the dome is how that game ended. Space Station fans excited for what they just saw on your screen. Also worth noting game type wise as we take a look, the last time that game type was played by each team, Space Station had 50-35 Rebellion. Optic Gaming had lost 50-45 to Pure. So that tells you that that definitely was a game type that was one-sided historically as well. And now getting ready for strongholds on interference is going to be a rapid pace of this game.
Well, let's look at this man's stats when it comes to strongholds. Incredible. First across the board in KD. First across the board in kills per minute. First across the board for deaths per minute as well. And I mean, you look at his damage differential per minute. I mean, hey, surprise, make it all first. StelluR has been phenomenal when it comes to strongholds for SSG.
If there were any other categories, it would be first as well. I think they just decided that you get the picture here of what's going on with this guy and strongholds. And it's a real special quality, right? Because I think you and I talk a lot about this very specific play style that you need to bring to strongholds. It's all about positioning. It's knowing when to trade. What are you holding? What are you forcing? And it's clear that StelluR knows exactly where he needs to be to set up around his teammates to make sure that not only is he staying first in those categories, but that they're putting points on the board.
Yeah, I always feel like we were talking about it yesterday, right? It's almost like a vision cone. Like everyone from SSG is always within the same vision cone. Everyone is able to access each other's battles or provide them with an escape route. And I feel like StelluR is so good at almost, if you imagine the man on your screen right now, Eco, being the center point of SSG, right? Like he's always within a distance to assist in that fight, to clean up that fight, to keep Eco alive. And the same can be said on the other side of things when you come to Bound, right? Bound could be that first guy. StelluR is always in a position to help clean up the damage. And it's positioning in a way that's just like non-traditional, because you look at map control, you look at top tower, you want to be top tower if you're main Slayer, right? StelluR recognizes that his positioning is based upon where damage is on the map, and he's so good at accessing that damage and cleaning it up before the player who took the damage has the opportunity to get the shields back.
Yeah, we got a chance to talk to Talik yesterday after Pure series against Space Station where they got 3-0'd, and we grabbed him and we asked him, we were like, you know what, it feels like SSG is always looking in the same exact direction, all 4 of them, and like you say, like a vision cone, and he goes, yes, bro. He's like, that is what it felt like the whole game, and it's amazing to watch. It almost feels like they also have this amazing, almost like teamwork where it's a tether, right? And they can't separate
from
too
far from each other.
Yeah, it's as if they have on their Spartans some kind of tethering where they will always be within the perfect distance to each other where the kills will get cleaned up. And the second they won't be, a player will retreat, wait for help. It's unbelievable because of the speed of this game. You cannot overstate how difficult it is to constantly be exactly looking at the same priorities with the opponents that you have, especially in a team like Optic Gaming, but they're doing it.
Well, isn't it interesting we say that actually, because we were talking about how when we look at SSG, we feel like their skill ceiling is almost infinite, right? They can be, when things are working for SSG, you see a game like we just saw, where this insane level of communication, teamwork, skill, ability, but because it is so kind of precise, it means that the floor sometimes for SSG can be a little bit lower if things don't start to click, like we saw in London. So SSG at the moment seems to be hitting the height of their game. Optic Gaming, they took a little bit of a battering in that previous game, but now it is a reset, and this game type, we know all about it. This can be punishing.
Also worth mentioning here, it's perfectly timed because at the 1-1 mark here, tied up in the series, both teams coming to this specific game type with a winning record in Atlanta.
Well, Bound looking to continue his good work from the previous game in the Slayer. Hey, peekaboo, there's another one. Manages just to take one down as well as some shields, but it's going to be Space Station who have control of B and C, and will be scoring momentarily. There's StelluR doing what he does best.
You had a feeling from Deadzone's POV that might be what happens. Overshield up right now. StelluR knows he has one more battle to fight before they're able to grab it.
Optic at the moment, all trapped to A. Overshield is up, and look at this prioritization of targets coming in from StelluR. Pressure completely onto the spawners here, and there's some more perfect shots coming in from StelluR. Now he's turning his attention back home because he knows there's another kill for him. Lucid is dealt with, it's 4 dead. He takes down Deadzone, it's a killing spree off the rip for StelluR.
You and I are watching that, it's not even 4 dead, it's only 5 dead somehow. Right away, the first spawner gets taken down as well, and just like that, it's overshield in hand, it's 42 points on the board, it's Space Station picking up where they left off.
It's a triple cap, and it is hurting Optic, it will hurt anyone on interference, and now you're going to see Formal in the 1v1, but Lqgend cheats because he has the overshield, so he has a little bit of advantage, but uses it to make sure he guarantees the kill.
Just keeps dealing damage. This is the theme, by the way, from Spacestation. Even when they've done a lot of damage on the map, they somehow pivot around, they whip around, they get to a new angle, and they deal even more damage. 78-0 off the opening.
82 and rising, and Lqgend has not died on the map yet. He's yet to die. And it looks like SSG are about to cross the 100-point mark. Maybe there might be an opportunity for someone to take him down, and finally, he will register his first death of the game, but the pressure keeps coming in. Finally, Optic can get a few kills on their side, and that's going to be all dead for SSG. It's Optic's time now to put some hurt onto SSG.
Triple kill for Formal to slowly get back into this game, but I think Lqgend just died as the team hit the 100-point mark. I don't know how many times in HCS history a team has had 100 points on the board at this level, certainly not in a grand final, when you have a player who hasn't even died yet on your team.
Well, this is the problem for SSG though, right? It's like, hey, fantastic, great start. However, go 4 dead and then you find yourself on the back foot and there could be a triple cap coming your way. But look how well they have fought out of this situation. That was a 3 dead situation for Optic Gaming, even though they picked up the kills and they've lost the overshield as well. And Lqgend said, I've died once, but I have no plans on doing that again.
Wow, look at also a very late pop of the overshield, brings it all the way down low and then is able to just snag it and pop it a little bit late, which means they can continue scoring, and he's going to run these catwalks, wait for his teammates to spawn up, of course. Now Bound start to push as well on tower. It's 123 points on the board.
Like what SSG are doing here as well. They're not overextending, they're not giving any freebies away, and Lucid's going to fly forward, and Lucid, with a little bit of help from Formal, will negate that overshield. Lqgend, that's your second death, and you'll remember that one for quite some time.
A little bit of a difference there, right? When you see an Optic player so far in this game look for more, they typically get taken down. When you see an SSG player look for extra damage, they somehow not only deal the damage, but they get out of it as well, or some teammates come to help as well. 2 dead for the moment for SSG. AB hold.
StelluR with a heat wave. Formal with no shields. Formal should fall in the next second or so, you would imagine. And indeed, StelluR's going to chase him down. Look at the pressure he's trying to keep on. There's a thrust, but even with that, Lucid shots are pure enough to make sure that that was not an easy kill. Optic trying to get control of A. TriPPPeY winning the fight, but traded out by Lqgend, and 2 dead again for Optic Gaming, and Deadzone can't control A as well. The reset's going to come in thanks to Eco.
Big from Eco. I'm glad you said that. Really the only player alive there needed to win that battle. Might not have looked that important on your screen. However, he wins that essentially in a 1v1 and now hits unbelievable pre-nades as well to keep Lucid in the back of bunker.
Almost as if he knew exactly where he was. The timing of that grenade was absolutely perfect from Eco. And even though it doesn't secure the kill, it keeps him out the stronghold, right? And that's how you win the game.
Spacestation looking very different in terms of objective efficiency here in this game number 3 compared to that game 1. Right now they're outslaying 31-26, but much more importantly, 167-24. It's an AB hold for Optic Gaming.
AB hold. Good news for Optic though is they have control of the map. They have control of the inside as the overshield comes up. So now this is their chance to pressurize SSG, and there haven't been too many opportunities so far in this game for Optic to really stranglehold onto their opponents. It's a 2 dead situation for now. This should be 3 dead as Eco will get the kill, even though I thought for a second he got the stick, but Lucid managed to avoid that as well.
Yeah, very nice job here from Lucid. Even going to use that last bit of overshield to start to engage, but most importantly for him and the squad, they will finish C, and it's now a trip cap for the first time for Optic Gaming. Wall 2 were still dead.
They know where the spawns are coming in as well, because you can see the Bound, he took a little bit of damage, had to retreat. They have the carbine blocked as well, so Lucid and Co now have all of SSG trapped over at the nest, and that's why you're seeing StelluR on his own. He's last player alive. It's Lucid versus StelluR. StelluR wins it, but he's lost alive with no shields.
It feels like it's that kind of weekend for StelluR, even though he does get taken out in the end. If he's in these 1v1s, he's hitting those shots and he's winning those battles. Now, it will not translate to control for SSG, as Optic Gaming will continue scoring on the AB hold, and they're right back in this game, but still a long way to go.
Got to say, give a huge amount of respect to both teams, because there's been triple caps that have been in effect momentarily and a couple of kills that followed them up, but nobody's been able to hold it for a significant amount of time to really get out into a, I would say, a crazy lead where we're looking at the snowball start to roll. So congratulations to Optic Gaming and SSG. The triple cap hasn't hurt you too much, as Optic will continue to score.
And if we use the stats as a forecast tool, once again, Optic Gaming actually just went into the lead in the kills category, so they do still trail here by 40 or so. Excuse me, 70 points or so. We'll see if they can get back into this one. Formal is 13-7, doing everything he can to get the team back in this, but StelluR on the other side, as they fall 4 dead, is 14-11.
Now they're pushing for that triple cap. You can see the Deadzone's first priority is where are the spawns coming in. He's going to wait for damage here. He knows the bunker spawns are there. The A conversion is going to give that detail away. And now it's just about picking your time to strike. Eco in the 1v1. Eco will win it as well. Kills like that just stagger everything and give SSG an out to get back on the map.
3 dead. Lucid is your last player alive. You're going to see his top tower should be an easily 2v1 isolation. Yes, it does come in the end. Great team shots coming in there, and great, once again, isolation. On the back, speaking of, back car spawns here. Spacestation going to look to continue dealing this damage and going to look to control B. They will begin scoring again. Only a 50-point lead, though.
Yeah, another overshield goes to SSG, and Lqgend, though, the man seems to be spawning with it at the moment. Every time he goes to his POV, he's got an overshield to make his life a little bit easier, and now you're seeing overshield still in their hands. You're seeing a triple cap in their hands as well, and maybe the opportunity to win this game in their hands as well. Lqgend is hunting. Lqgend is looking for bodies. Blocking the spawns over at the bunker first, and now he's going to move forward.
Yeah, look at this, just ready for anyone who might push in. Looks like players going to start to push a mid-haul push, Optic Gaming, and Lqgend's actually going to even give his team that information. In the 3v3 on the map right now, 220 on the board for SSG. This is the home stretch.
Continual damage onto multiple targets coming in from Lqgend as well. Backing up while he's doing this damage, waiting for the teammates to come in. It's perfect. Damage output coming in from the Frenchman. 2 more players in front of him, does even more damage and somehow stays alive. He is one slippery customer, this Lqgend.
B now. Look at that reset, 241 on the board. Once again, Spacestation showing no signs of slowing, only 5 points to go.
SSG with the lead, SSG with the hold. One more push maybe for Optic. They step inside of B. Couple of kills start to go their way, and they will convert. So the game will keep going, even with SSG just needing the 2 points. But Optic, I mean, it needs to be almost flawless from this point forward.
You got to think with the way SSG is playing, it is unthinkable that they come back in this game. All it takes is not even a good push, really just a single kind of offhand strongholds cap that would end this one. 248 on the board, 2 to go.
Eco hunts behind 1 and will get the kill. Lqgend got another as well. It's 3 dead for Optic, and this will be game going to SSG. They're inside of C, they're inside of B. The final points will tick up. And from 1-0 down in this series, SSG will go into the lead.
Closely fought once again in terms of the overall slays. Spacestation outslays 54-50, which on paper you would think was a much closer game than we actually saw in the stronghold points category. As you say, SSG now takes the lead in the series.
So very often you see the Green Wall fans being challenged. I kind of like what I'm seeing from the Spartan on the front of the stage here. And challenges happening on this stage as well. Optic Gaming, a few forward brows here as we look across the main stage. 2 difficult game types to really get your head around. Sometimes when you find yourselves 3 or 4 dead on interference, you're probably thinking, hey, what's the next game type?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, also worth mentioning, SSG will now extend their streak on that game type. Undefeated, now 3-0 on the season as well. A game type they know well, and it really showed in that game as well.
That man thinks it's happened 2 times. He's talking about the 2 times this season that he wants to see SSG lift that trophy. And now with a 2-1 series lead, we'll take a look at some of the replays that we just saw. And I've got to kind of highlight a few things in this game and a few players in particular. StelluR, again, I'm going to keep talking about him because the way that he converts damage into kills is world class.
Really is 18 and 13 in that last game with 10 assists, by the way. 2nd most assists on the team and also leading in kills. And you cannot ask for more from a player on your team in a grand final.
Yeah, very, very impressive. You look across pretty much everyone's statistics. I mean, I want to take a look at Lqgend as well, because we said that there was an early run that came in from SSG and it took a little bit of time for them, or for Lqgend, excuse me, to find his first death. He didn't have the best stats statistically, but the damage output that he was involved with led his team with 13 assists, and his control of the overshield, I mean, he was the pivot point for everyone to work around.
Yeah, tied for 1st most assists in the entire game. Lucid on the other side also with 13 assists, but as we saw, and you can even see on your screen right here, that final scoreline of 250 to 152. Just once again, I mean, it flips game 1 on its head because we were pretty concerned about objective efficiency from the side of Spacestation. Optic Gaming was looking so good. In that game, however, it really became a very different story. SSG wins that handily, and they hand Optic Gaming another loss to now only be 2 games away from calling themselves the HCS Atlanta Major Champions. King of the Hill Live Fire up next.
Let's take a look at some of the stats for this particular game type and map as well for both teams, because you can see that the record for Optic Gaming isn't the best. On the other side of things for Spacestation, undefeated here in Atlanta. King of the Hill has certainly been a happy hunting ground for them, and something I think they've worked on away from this event as well, coming into this main stage match.
Interesting as well, because it's important to also look at this specific game type and not just King of the Hill overall in this specific game type in 2024. Optic Gaming is 4-1. SSG is 2-3. Which tells a different story than King of the Hill.
It's funny how you can pick the stats to tell your story, isn't it? You got to keep big picture.
It really is. So if you just look at overall King of the Hill in Atlanta, I think you could say, ooh, this one looks like it might go SSG. If we look at this specific game type, though, the records certainly indicate that it could be Optic Gaming tying the series. However, as we always say on a championship Sunday, it'll always come down to the moment. Can Optic Gaming do it here?
Maybe it's an indication of the hard work that SSG put into the game, away from the game, right? Away from the tournaments, in those scrims, in their preparation, in their VOD review, to make sure that weakness isn't something that's exposed here in Atlanta. Well, SSG, they're up 2-1 in the series right now in time for some King of the Hill. StelluR has been out of this world so far in this tournament. Let's see if he can continue that form here in the next game.
And if you're on the Optic Gaming side, you're worried that StelluR's kind of hitting the final form, right? You really don't want to ever let him heat all the way up. It can get very dangerous. And off that last game, he might take the momentum and just really continue where he left off. But Deadzone with a very nice shot there to take down Eco.
A little bit early time here for SSG, but the delayed camo spawn is going to mean that a little bit of attention moves away from the hill towards that. Deadzone going to have a line of sight on it, but first of all, he's got to deal with Bound, who is flying, it's StelluR, who is flying forward. I almost expected that to be Bound with the way that spark was boogieing. It's actually going to be Bound who's going to collect the camo, and StelluR has the snipe, and Formal just found that out for himself.
It's true, it's scary with the movement on SSG, isn't it? If they were all wearing the same armor, you'd have no idea, because they tend to all fly into areas that just breakneck speed altogether. Here's the pushback green from SSG.
SSG looking to pick up the kills before they step into that hill, using this camo to its max. I know he's here somewhere, but somewhere ain't good enough sometimes. But look at the play from Optic, by the way. Optic are giving as good as they can on this hill. It's not going to be an easy break for SSG. Deadzone's still inside that hill, and Lucid's trying to support him. StelluR's probably thinking, hey, where are these Optic Gaming members coming from?
It's wild, the percentage plays that StelluR looks for, right? The fact that he goes Nest Bridge and knows he's going to hit that body shot to clean up the Nest player. Just a lot of high confidence plays coming out of him. But so far, it's paid off for Optic Gaming. As you said, a really good hold there on the pillars and sandbags angles that they took, and now only moments away from closing out the first hill.
Yeah, they've done a really, really good job. I think it kind of started with the hold that they had when that camo was in and around the hill. They picked up a couple of kills, they spawned in the big door, they managed to fly out and keep contesting. And now you're seeing them step inside the hill with SSG 2 dead. This could be the first point for Optic. They convert, they're up 1-0.
Really, I think SSG got surprised there on that last angle. I think StelluR thought he was going to walk in. Once they got the Nest kill, generally, once you get that kill, you can get breaks on back green, you can get breaks on sandbags, on pillars. Instead, Optic Gaming really, really great timing on their team shots specifically to hold down that angle, shut down StelluR, and then eventually close out the first hill as well.
Battle for the rotation is now our next point of call for both teams, as the tower hill is where we will be heading. 3 dead for SSG. Optic looking extremely, extremely focused in this game. Haven't really put a foot wrong so far. Even when they didn't get that camo, they were securing hill time. In the meantime, Eco's going to wait for them, and I like that from SSG.
Yep.
Wait for the flanker, wait for the scammer, pick up your kill.
I like that a lot. 1v1 here. I think Deadzone's still alive. But Deadzone's actually going to pop the camo. We'll see if he can stay alive. Big help coming in. Deadzone eventually taken down. A nice double kill. It will make things 2v2 on the map momentarily, but I agree. It's a really great heads-up play there from SSG. I think when we were on TriPPPeY's screen, everyone was thinking, ooh, is TriPPPPeY going to get away with this with a house flank? Flank window and scoreboard? Not at all. Eco looks at right away, checks big door, gets the kill, and makes sure that things stay even here on the second hill.
Green gun for TriPPPeY's going to make the kill onto Bound a little bit more simple than if he didn't have it. Hits the green bolt. But look how fiercely contested this hill is, right? Nobody has had an elongated period of time with their toes inside of it. Maybe Lucid with his sniper rifle can change that in the favor of Optic Gaming. Bound has the visor cracked, and then he has the skull follow it afterwards. There's a little bit of a zoom in, as Lucid maybe is creating the space for Optic. They are now 2/3 of the way to capping this hill, and it's been thanks to the sniper rifle in the hands of this man.
Yeah, I mean, this team looking very, very good in this game type, like we said. Just not missing shots here, going to get some help, and that's 3 assists in a row. Beautifully done, just dealing all the damage that he needs to, and they're moments away from closing out this second hill.
And Lucid's playing his best. This sniper rifle looks so whippy. It's such a high sense player, high acceleration. It's so fun to watch him do what he does, but Optic Gaming, even though they've had a huge majority of this hill, have fallen at just at the wrong time to call it their own. SSG do break, and now they have to hold.
As you said, Formal not able to get a trade or even pivotal damage that would have helped the spawners. The timing wasn't there, so Optic Gaming is going to need to formulate an entire push. They've got certainly, at minimum, probably 2 pushes here to try to make this work and close out the second hill. No QT there for StelluR. That means the first kill will go to Optic.
Yeah, no damage either coming in from StelluR, which is very rare in those situations. You just get caught off guard ever so slightly. which has made the push for Optic a little bit more simple to take care of. Formal will find one onto Lqgend. Bound has taken damage himself. Lucid's up on that tower. And even though Bound does get the kill with the trade, Deadzone's still here, still causing problems. But look at SSG, they're flying across the map. This has been such a staggered push from both sides that now the spawners are involved.
Yeah, really interesting. Just a chess match between the two teams, right? Just slowly, as you said, knowing that they didn't want to take the damage. It took so long for TriPPPeY to even leave the nest boxes there to actually go into tower because he wanted to play very selected angles to avoid cuts as well as dummies. In the end, the first kill on the next rotation, first 2 kills on the next rotation go the way of Optic Gaming, and they close out the second hill as well. A lot of mental battle there, and really just, as you said, a slower push than usual. In the end, it's Optic Gaming that gets the upper hand. They get the second hill as well.
Really important this for Optic Gaming as well. Having lost the last 2 games, you need a bit of confidence and momentum to swing back your way. Securing the first hill, a good way to kind of level the mentality. Securing the second one makes you believe once more that you're in this series. For now, though, they have to focus on breaking again. As SSG have won the rotate, they had 3 dead momentarily, and StelluR, this time you get the feeling he's not going to go through a fight without doing some damage.
Yeah, just like you said, so rare that we're on StelluR's POV. Essentially, him getting taken down led to a long series of events of what then led to Optic Gaming taking that second hill. Optic Gaming, by the way, narrowly outslaying at this stage of the game, just 37-36. Every single game, they have been neck and neck in terms of kills.
One man who's having a great game again is Deadzone. He has been so impressive so far, and the kills are stacking up in his favor once more. Unfortunately, he's going to have to take a death this time around, as his stats will now change from 12-6 to 12-7. And StelluR, he's looking for more. He's going to find Formal off guard, doesn't want to trade this kill, and won't. It's 4 dead. As Bound picks up a couple himself for SSG, they're starting to have a little bit of a grip on this hill.
SSG not out just yet. Going to look for that sniper top middle as well.
Enemy about to
And only if they get the first pick here, especially the first 2 picks, this will be their hill.
They get the kill onto Deadzone. Eco's watching bottom middle. StelluR gets another one as well, and you get the feeling that even though Formal has found one, this is going to be a 2-to-1 game in the next few moments. That's exactly where we find ourselves. The SSG get that hill on the board, as now we move to the mud hill, and for Eco, he's got the snipe and he can break this open.
Also worth noting there that Optic actually did go for the stop, and now they find themselves 3 dead yet again. Back-to-back 3 deads because they tried to fly in and get the stop on that. You have to think it's a high-risk, high-reward play in the end. Now it's going to lead to still 3 dead. More time on the board here for SSG, and they're going to look to tie up this game.
Eco probably just saying to Lqgend, hey, jump in the hill, buddy. I got that sniper rifle, although this is a pretty good spot to snipe, especially towards green. But this angle is difficult, and he decides that if there's one thing I've learned from the previous series, learning what happens when you let Lucid catch a sniper rifle, I'm not letting that happen again. It's a double kill for Bound, though. While the action moves away from the hill towards back green, this man, he's looking for more, and he's going to get it as well. It's another kill for Bound.
4 dead for Optic Gaming, 3 of them coming from Bound. It's amazing to watch him play. The shots, the only way to describe those shots are crispy. In all of those battles, beautifully done, beautifully executed. And with that swing of play, Spacestation will now go into the lead, 51-45 kills.
Half that hill is theirs as well. Push is coming in on the pillars. They know they have to deal with Bound, but look at the damage. Even with no shields, he peeks out, he prods out, he gets 3 shots into Lucid to make the cleanup a lot more simple for the rest of his teammates to take care of. And SSG stand back in that hill once more.
Optic is really just in the blender here. Anyone who's been watching the kill feed as well as the top left of the screen, you've seen Optic with 3 to 4 dead 3 times in a row. Maybe Lucid can slow this one down. See if they get back to control the map.
Decides to take the 1v1 with StelluR. It's brave and it's confident, and luckily for him, StelluR just didn't get that first shot. It wasn't perfect from Lucid, but the 6 shots was enough to get that kill. And Optic finally have managed to get semblance of map control. And you're right, it's the camo that's allowed them to do that. It's not just the kill, Andy. You got to think, SSG are thinking, where's that camo?
StelluR again.
Oh, he gets it this time.
StelluR wins it. You challenge him a second time, 4 dead, by the way, and you have to think this is such a big hill, not just for this game, but for this series. If this goes 3-1 Optic versus going 2-2 SSG, this could really determine how these next few games go.
Optic gonna have one more stab at this one. Bound is gonna challenge. StelluR's gonna get the kill, and it will be 2-2. SSG inside of that hill, call it their own, and now we turn our attention to top middle. And with StelluR looking to get on top of that tower, this kill could be massive from Lucid, but Eco keeps his teammate alive.
How about StelluR doubling back to take down Lucid the second time, huh? Fool me once is what StelluR says. He comes back down to challenge that battle again. Of course, it's a pivotal battle to break there in mud.
Oh my StelluR!
Unbelievable shots, unbelievable play coming from him. Finally, he's taken down, but not before some progress on the board in the hill, as well as a few kills to his name.
Now Lqgend's winning the individuals as well. Jumps up and gets a above the body of Deadzone to land the bonk onto the top of the head, and Bound's got a sniper rifle as well, so this is not looking good for Optic Gaming right now. Tower control, owned by SSG. Hill, owned by SSG. And Bound is standing with the big stick, looking to peel anyone who dares to poke.
Yeah, this is not an easy push. Against other players, it might be easy to fly.
Oh,
And
sweet
this is
Jesus!
why.
That is a shot and a half, and he gets the beat down as well on bottom middle. Can't quite convert it into a nice looking double kill, but it's going to be enough for SSG to stay inside of this hill and call it their own. SSG up 3-2 now.
How about Bound just, I mean, that's how much of a threat he is. Nobody even wants to look top mid. No one goes sandbags. No one wants to go see flat or bottom tower because they know you're going to get absolutely peeled by the sniper rifle of Bound. That's what he does, getting that kill, and as you said, getting the melee as well. He's leaving, he's getting a kill, getting another player no shield. That paves the way for them to get the third hill. Mind you, they were just down 2-0 here off the opening. It's an unbelievable comeback from SSG.
And for all the impressive things that Formal has done so far in this tournament, he's been one of the standouts for Optic. This has not been a standout game statistically. 9-21 for Formal. Needs to find a few more kills to get his team back on level footing when it comes to those slays. And with 22 seconds left in this game, you have to wonder, are SSG thinking time? Or is that going to allow Optic to step inside this hill and send us to a decided hill?
2 dead, Formal with the camo game in his hands, 3 dead. He's the last player alive. This is dicey and dangerous. You have to think there's no way out for him. What can the spawners do? It's going to be too late. 9 seconds left on the clock.
Formal knew they needed to get near that hill, but I wonder if he just could have bought a few more seconds of time. And
that's it.
it's going to be SSG now who do close out the final moments of this game. It's a turnaround in their favor, and Spacestation Gaming now 1 map away from being your champions.
How about Bound? 24-16 in that game. We've been talking about him all weekend, and for very good reason. Amazing numbers from everyone on SSG. Total kills go 76-61 in favor of Spacestation, and every single player going positive or even on the side of SSG.
Isn't it fascinating sometimes how a player can have a reality check and come back, and that fire that they have because of, they knew they let someone down. They knew they let their teammates down. They care so much about the success of not just their own careers, but that of their teammates, that they come into the next event and just look like a different beast altogether. Bound has been phenomenal so far this tournament, but it's difficult to say anyone on SSG that hasn't been.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable play from them. Also to lose game 1 the way that they did and now bounce back in this. Let's also not forget in that last game that we just watched, they were down 2 hills. It's just showing that they have brought a different level of resilience to this grand final, and they're looking like a completely different team than they were in London.
Yeah, and I mean, it's 1 more game to go, right? 1 more game to go. For Optic Gaming, they're probably thinking, we need to try and send this a little bit deeper. We need this next game, otherwise we're not going to get an opportunity again. And this story of the second place curse, well, it's going to continue to be told. So a big, big game for Optic Gaming. They want to really try and pressurize SSG and say, hey, we're here for the long game, not just for another grand finals appearance. We'll take a look at some of the replays here. It's a great start by Optic, fantastic start by Optic, but it was the mid-game that belonged to SSG.
It really was. I mean, and look, also just so dominant to control, right? I think if anyone was placing bets at the early point of that game or the mid-game, they would have said this game is going to Optic Gaming, but also Optic there, after that first hill got capped by SSG, they fly in late, and it was a low probability stop on that hill. I think they even knew it. And I was worried when I was looking at the numbers. Another sequence here from Bound, which was absolutely fantastic. I believe he even picked up more after that. But Optic Gaming spent the next few spawns in a 3-dead blender because they flew in to try to stop that hill late. And you have to think, maybe a different game if they don't just try to get that stop.
Yeah, it's one of those things you look back on, right? In hindsight, it's always 2020. You're like, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But those decisions and that work you feel like it should have been done beforehand, right? That shot from Bound, by the way, was pretty much the one that secured that top middle hill. And then it was just a case of biding your time, let that clock do the work for us, see the game out, and put yourself 1 map away from your 2nd championship this year.
2 things jump out, like you said. First of all, Bound on the first day when we heard him in the interview, just a really amazing response from him, very mature response, saying, I take full responsibility for the London performance, we're going to change that. We'll take a look at the series layout now. It has been all black and gold for the last 45 minutes or so. Spacestation Gaming winning three games straight, and they now put themselves 1 game away from calling themselves champions here in Atlanta.
And the thing is, it's the StelluR again, right? And StelluR has been SSG's forte. When they have played well in tournaments, when they have won tournaments, the StelluRs have been a strength for them. And here's another example of it, right? This is what we saw in map number 2, 50-33. The Bound KD in that particular game.
I mean, come on.
it almost looks like incorrect data. You know what I mean? Like, it's that high.
I mean, a 2.29 going up against a team where no one was able to even go positive. These are unreal numbers, 16 and 7 from him. Of course, 2 players above the 4K damage mark as well. Unreal numbers there. Like we said, nobody going negative in that game either. That seems to be a theme for the side of Spacestation Gaming across the last few games.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at those stats, you're probably thinking, hey, it's time to pack it up if you're Optic Gaming because of how one-sided they are. But this is a different map, a different game type, different elements to play around. You've got the Stalker rifle to play with, you've got the Bulldog, you've got the Shroud, you've got that camo as well. There's a lot to work with for Optic Gaming on this map and a lot of opportunities for them to go on a few runs. Also, I feel like Streets is a game type you can slow down a little bit sometimes. You can play some nerdy corners, you can really catch opponents off guard, and Optic can set a few of those traps that they love to. For SSG though, you can see the focus is, get me into this game, let me near that trophy, and let me lift it above my head once more.
Yeah, and once again, we'll look at this specific game type stats here in 2024, which I think is important for map number 5. Optic Gaming is 2-2 in Slayer Streets. SSG is actually 1-3, so significantly losing record.
Yeah.
And even though we just looked at the Slayer stats from game 2, this specific game type, on paper, right now, leans in the favor of Optic Gaming. The question is if they can get it done. Once again, we said the same thing about King of the Hill Livefire, and SSG showed that those statistics weren't as important. SSG fans in the building want to see another win here, and if we just won more, they can raise that banner even higher.
Something to remember for everyone who's in the crowd. You might be a bit of a dejected Optic fan right now, thinking, oh, not again, not another second place. Take yourself back to Arlington, right? Take yourself back to Arlington. The flip side of this happened, right? SSG, they went down early in the series, they took a little step away from the stage, they came back, and all of a sudden looked like a completely different team. That's exactly what Optic Gaming have just done. Stepped away from the stage for a few moments, they're back on the stage right now. You can see they're having a little talk together, they're trying to iron out a few things, and maybe just a little reminder of the belief that needs to be installed. Lucid is holding court right now and probably saying to his teammates, hey, we're here for a reason. We have fought, we have clawed, we have done everything we can to get back to this grand finals position. People didn't think we'd get here. Right. Well, let's go and win a championship.
Exactly. They know there's still a long run ahead of them. As long as they can put these games together, it will be a big task in this grand final number 1 if they want to force us to a game number 7, but that's exactly what they are going to look to do here.
Who are you looking at as to be the game changer for Optic here? Who do you think is going to be the man who has to step up and really drag the troops through this next game?
I think it's got to be Formal for a few reasons. One, we've seen the games where he pops off this weekend. This team gets to new heights. I think we've also seen him trading that out with Lucid. However, when Formal hits new heights, he was dropping 21 to 9s earlier in the tournament. We'll see if he can do that. Secondly, name a better duo than Formal and a big game on Slayer Streets.
Yeah,
right? We've seen it before. We've seen the highlights. That's the question for me. I think the X factor is Formal. We'll see what he can do in this game.
Formal runs the streets a lot of the time. We're going to have to see if he can do it again here. Optic Gaming need this game to keep this grand final going. For SSG, one more map is all they're going to be saying to each other. One more map, and we can claim our second championship of this season. StelluR the POV to start with. Let's see what happens.
Could be the last game of the tournament here. If Spacestation Gaming is able to close it out, that's exactly what StelluR and Co. are going to look to do in your Game 5 Slayer. No advantage off the opening here. First one will go to SSG.
Lucid absolutely flies into trap there with the Bulldog, and it's going to be 1-1. As Formal now going to have the 1v1 and take the trade. So a couple of dead on either side momentarily. A slight lead on the side of Spacestation, as Eco is just anchoring here at the back of the tram. Camo's going to be coming up. That's why you're seeing a little bit of respect. Deadzone's going to fly down the middle of the map, and that's going to be 2 dead. All of a sudden, SSG find themselves up by 2 or 3 kills. Bound's going to get that camo, I'm pretty sure, and SSG, they win the opening rush, and now they've got some toys to play with.
Camo indeed. We'll see what Bound can do. To be 6-3 here is really dangerous territory for Optic Gaming. They and a Bulldog, as you said, in the back pocket as well. We'll see if he can continue this score streak, just slowly dancing around. You can tell Optic trying to eagle-eye the Camo.
Couple of bullets in from Bound, just make sure that he plays his life. Most important thing for him to do right now is get in a position to get a kill and not get traded, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He gets 1, he gets 2. It's perfect use of the Bulldog Camo combo. And let me tell you, that bite, that hurt Optic.
I love the bottom mid route from there. It looks like they're going to clean up this one as well. Should do. Yes, Legend in the end cleans it up. That will be 3 dead for the moment there for Optic Gaming as Spacestation goes into a 10-5 lead. I love the route there. Sometimes you can get away with that without Camo, but going bottom mid, Bound says, actually, I know there's a backdoor to this one, and I'm going to come in and get both kills and tires.
Legend looking to be the first up here to take an engagement, take an engagement he does. Deadzone gets trapped on those B stairs. And now it wouldn't surprise me to see SSG try and flood through the arcade, or maybe they're just going to wait for another opportunity. This man, with a bandit in his hand, doesn't miss too many bullets, and he's making Optic pay. Now it's time for some assault rifle action. Add a little bit of spice to the recipe.
2 dead here for Optic, and Lqgend just going to hold down the driveway. 14-6 in SSG right now, doubling their opponent's score. Let's get to a listening with Spacestation Gaming.
Keep aim bottom. Hurry up. Could be your spikes.
Spikes, Ivy, that's all done. Just going. Front seat.
He's big.
Chasing Lqgend, guys, weak. He's nervous, bro. Nice.
They have camo, by the way. Could be on you.
Engage, bro.
They could have camo shot.
Could be spikes on.
E street.
I'm getting up.
Is it gonna come B?
Are we watching bottom C? I'll watch Ivy.
Yeah, watch him bottom C.
Red room crouching, guys.
Might jump Ivy.
F still.
We're watching bottom C, right?
One type. Yeah. Your camo's right. B-roll. Shot him once. And no B-roll.
You one shot.
You're good. Just take our shot. Nothing front C now. Kevin, you have a thing. Watch out for trash. B. You go.
Right now, Brandon here.
Watch out. Get a jump up. Watch out.
One shot crash.
Another one. Trippy. I'm cooking something.
Yeah, we don't play off that. We don't play off that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one trash going down to B. One is going down to B.
I'm coming to you.
One is going down to B.
Going heaven. I'm close now.
Yeah.
It's
They could have launched it.
Top 5 yourself.
Okay, good call. Arcade's really weak, actually. Backed up ice cream. No, they haven't. 2 B side, guys. We can get shrouds.
You're be super. Drive. 2 shot B stairs.
They have stalker. They have stalker, you said, right?
Yeah. Yo, I'm gonna play long camera.
They might push me. I'm one.
Be weak. And go bottom and careful.
Sitting driveway, one guy in B, guys. They're just sitting.
One more B shotty, one more B like ATM.
Watching, but
I'm gonna be ATM.
Arcade and tires.
Yeah.
Guy in tires to laundry, I think, guys. Okay, bottom is Chinese. I died. Tires, one shot. Tires and plants. No. He's plants back up to B. Plants back up to B.
Both. They have a shot.
Tires.
I've got a shotty to your left. Nice,
Lqgend.
The shotty.
Still tires.
Come on, 10.
We can tires, I think.
No, watch out, B stairs. Come on, watch out, Ivy. Two shot Ivy.
He's driving.
Two shot Ivy, Deadzone.
Okay, I'll take one, get driving.
Yeah, guys, come on.
I can't look at it.
I might push that in. Ivy in bottom C, weak.
He dead in? This is
Yeah,
PD, I think. He's front tower. Watch out front tower. Dead. Oh my god.
They have camo.
Camo. Okay, top
He's gonna go B stairs with it. They have Shotty. Shotty was driving last scene.
See if he comes benches.
I'm watching front.
Watching bottom mid and benches.
One driveway.
Over here, laundry. Come on. Watch out once.
He's in tires. Plants.
Yeah, weak. Plants in arcade weak.
One shot B stairs to camo, I think. I don't know.
It was trippy.
What's on me tires?
Yeah,
Shotty. Yes, Shotty. One shot. Nice. In B.
Bottom C, two shot spikes. Lqgend. Nice.
Two dead.
On you, Kevin. Yeah, brace.
Tires.
He's burst, Lqgend. Burst.
We got PD on me.
Yeah, PD. I spawned C. They're all B.
Back on me. One dead.
I spawned C. They're all B.
Shotty. Repulse down back there, Brennan.
I'm just seeing you. Reset. One could be, bro.
Good spawn PD.
That shotgun still, man.
Could be more trash.
Tires the laundry weak.
Okay. It's still B, yes?
They're B side, Brennan.
Should still be B.
Careful, you should back down.
I have shroud.
I'm just sitting C. I'm just sitting C.
Trying to help down. They were calling me out, actually.
Nothing about driveway.
Go back PD.
One bedroom.
You have plants did not push, Brennan. Shot plants.
Watch out,
One shot plants. I'm gonna go.
One's arcade.
He's spinning back to her after that.
Stock.
Stay aggressive.
SSG out of the listening into the game and almost on their way towards another championship, it feels. Optic Gaming feel like they're on life support here.
I mean, amazing comms coming in from the entire side of SSG for that extended listening. Just getting to hear how they break down all these plays, all these situations together. You heard the small talk. You heard them encouraging each other when to push, when to back down. It was beautiful communication, and it's 3 dead yet again for Optic Gaming. 35-21 for Spacestation Gaming in what feels like is starting to become a victory lap.
We've talked about Bound, we talked about Lqgend, we talked about StelluR, right? 36 kills on the board for SSG. Eco has only died twice in this game. It's the Kevin Smith show here, and he's looking to lead his team forward.
Unbelievable. Camo popping here. Maybe the last hope, to be honest, for Optic Gaming because they're 3 dead again, but you have to think they do not have where they need to be on the map. Deadzone was your last player alive. You have spawners coming in from back A, but it should be a camo grab for SSG as well.
Could they be winning this with a steak dinner? It would be the ultimate destruction of Optic Gaming and the ultimate way to go towards another championship for SSG. Eco stays alive again. As I say that, he will forward. SSG will find themselves 4 dead. Now, this has to be special. It has to be something that we haven't seen in quite some time when it comes to comebacks. But they have the tools to do it here. They have SSG trapped. They have the camo in the hands of Formal. But this is going to have to be back-to-back-to-back squad wipes.
So interesting there that the camo still went to Optic, to be honest. It was 4 players dead. Deadzone was the last player alive, and now slowly getting the kills they need. 3 dead. Last player here is going to be Bound. See if they can track him down as they slowly try to get their way back into this game.
Still alive. Bound got out of there. They could not. Bound, look at this. He gets the kill onto Deadzone as well. Bound doing his best example of how you can turn streets into a jungle gym, and now you're going to see Formal take it down as well. It's 5 to go for SSG.
Legend's happy with the trade there, without a doubt. 4 to go for SSG. Bound is holding forward, not wanting to back down whatsoever. Gets the kill as well. 3 to go for SSG.
SSG marching towards another championship. And you have to say the bounce back has been beyond impressive. From disappointment in London to a grand finals here against Optic Gaming in Arlington. They now find themselves back in a grand final once more. This time, it's in Atlanta, and this time, it's gonna be theirs to take again. 49 kills, 1 to go for SSG. Who's gonna get it? Legend's on the hunt.
Last player alive, Legend. Gonna wait for his teammates here and then start to formulate a push. Here he goes, holding forward.
Deadzone's in trouble. Deadzone will fall, and Legend will get the final kill. And the bounce back is complete for Spacestation Gaming. Their 2nd championship this season in the Halo Championship Series. And the bounce back from the disappointment in London is complete.
And how about the yell from Legend you saw on the player cam, right? He pops off. That's a man who's tasted land victory once and then started to feel a 4th place finish, and he wanted that back, and he wanted it bad. The entire Space Station Gaming team shows up in a huge way. Space Station fans as well here in Atlanta as they now focus on the trophy ahead of them.
Give it up for Space Station Game in Atlanta, your champions here. All the way through the winners bracket to that grand final. And a dominant performance to win it.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, make some noise for your Atlanta champions, Space Station Gaming! Let me come on up in here and talk to the boys real quick, because what a win this was. StelluR, talk to me about what this win means after the woes in which you guys had last event to come in here. How does it feel to be back on top?